Be me, name is Derek. 29 years old, accountant at a mid-sized firm downtown. Been into fitness for about 6 years now. Started lifting in college to deal with stress. Became a lifestyle, gym is my therapy. Nothing clears my head like a good workout after a long day of spreadsheets. Just moved to a new apartment in a nice neighborhood. Great location, close to work, affordable rent. Only downside is my old gym is now 40 minutes away. Need to find somewhere closer. Look up gyms in walking distance. There's one literally 2 blocks from my building. Called EmpowerFit. Looks modern and well-equipped. Perfect. Exactly what I need. Saturday morning I walk over to check it out. Nice building, big windows, looks clean inside. I push open the door and walk up to the front desk. Woman behind the counter looks up at me. Seems confused for a second. Can I help you? I say yeah, I'd like to get information about membership. She hesitates and says, are you here with someone? I say no, just me, I just moved nearby and need a gym. She shifts uncomfortably. Sir, this is a women's only facility. I look around and notice for the first time. All the people working out are women. No men anywhere. I say, oh, I didn't realize. Is that a new policy? She says no. We've always been women's only. It's in our name, EmpowerFit Women's Wellness Center. I look at the sign outside. Just says EmpowerFit. The Women's Wellness Center part is in tiny letters underneath. Easy to miss. I apologize for the confusion and leave. Walk home feeling a bit embarrassed. Should have done more research, but also feeling something else. A little annoyed. There's no men's only gym anywhere nearby. If there was, it would probably be shut down immediately. But women's only is fine apparently. I push the thought aside and look for other options. Next closest gym is 25 minutes away. Not ideal, but workable. I sign up there and get back to my routine. Couple weeks later, I'm grabbing coffee with my buddy Travis. He lives in the same neighborhood, works in IT. I mention the EmpowerFit situation mostly as a funny story. He doesn't laugh. Says that place has been controversial for a while. Apparently the owner is pretty extreme. Her name is Sandra, 45, opened the gym 5 years ago. Very vocal about creating spaces free from male gaze. Has given interviews about how men in gyms make women uncomfortable. How women can't truly be empowered with men around. Travis pulls up an article on his phone. Sandra is quoted saying men have every other space in the world. Women deserve one place where they can exist without male presence. I read it, and something bothers me. I get that some women feel uncomfortable around men at the gym. That's valid. Everyone has their preferences. But legally, can you just ban half the population? Isn't that discrimination? Travis shrugs and says nobody's challenged it. Most guys just go somewhere else. Not worth the hassle. I nod, and we change the subject. But the thought stays with me. Next few weeks, I do some research. Look up laws about gender discrimination in public accommodations. Turns out it's complicated. Private clubs can restrict membership however they want. But businesses open to the public have different rules. Depends on state law and how the business is classified. I look up EmpowerFit's business registration. They're registered as a standard fitness center, not a private club, which means they're technically a public accommodation, subject to anti-discrimination laws. I bring this up to Travis next time we hang out. He's intrigued. Says his girlfriend actually wants to join that gym, but she thinks the whole vibe is too extreme. Too much ideology, not enough actual fitness. She'd prefer a normal co-ed gym closer to home. I mention that legally, they might not be able to exclude men. Travis gets a gleam in his eye. Dude, you should test it. I say, what do you mean? He says apply for membership formally. If they reject you, you have grounds for a discrimination complaint. I think about it for a few days. Part of me doesn't want the hassle. Just go to the other gym, live your life. But another part is bothered by the principle. If a gym banned women, there would be outrage. Lawsuits, protests, news coverage. But banning men is empowering apparently. The double standard irritates me. I decide to do something about it. Not to be a jerk, not to invade women's spaces, but to challenge the legal inconsistency. Monday afternoon I walk back into EmpowerFit. Same woman at the front desk, her name tag says Melissa. She recognizes me and tenses up. I say hi, I'd like to apply for membership. She says, sir, I told you before, this is a women's only facility. I say I understand that's your policy, but I'd like to formally apply and receive a formal response to my application. She doesn't know what to do. Says she needs to get her manager. Disappears into the back. Few minutes later a woman comes out. Older, fit, intense energy. This must be Sandra, the owner. She looks me up and down. Sir, can I help you? I say yes. I'd like to apply for membership. She says this is a women's only gym. We don't accept male members. I say I understand, but I'm formally requesting to apply. I'd like a written response to my application. She crosses her arms. Why are you doing this? I say because I live 2 blocks away, and this is the closest gym. I'd like to work out here. She says there are other gyms that accept men. I say there are also other gyms that accept women. But you chose to open here. She's getting angry. This is a safe space for women. Your presence would undermine everything we've built. I stay calm. I'm just asking to use the treadmill and lift weights. Same as anyone else. She says men have every other gym in the city. Women deserve one space of their own. I say I'm not arguing philosophy. I'm making a membership request. Will you accept my application or not? She stares at me for a long moment, then says no, we will not accept you. This is a women's only facility, and that's final. I say, can I get that in writing, please? She says, absolutely not. I say, okay, thank you for your time. I leave and immediately write down everything that happened. Date, time, names, exact quotes. Then I contact a lawyer. Guy named Richard, specializes in discrimination cases. I explain the situation. He's interested immediately. Says women's only gyms exist in a legal gray area. Most never get challenged because men don't bother. But if they're registered as public accommodations, they're potentially violating anti-discrimination laws. He agrees to take my case. We file a formal complaint with the State Civil Rights Commission. Also send a letter to EmpowerFit requesting reconsideration. Sandra responds through her lawyer. Says EmpowerFit is a private women's wellness club, not subject to public accommodation laws. Richard points out their business registration says otherwise. They're registered as a fitness center, not a private club. They advertise publicly, accept walk-in memberships. That makes them a public accommodation. Back and forth continues for a few weeks. Meanwhile, word gets out about my complaint. A local news picks up the story. Man challenges women's only gym policy. Sandra gives interviews calling me a misogynist. Says I'm trying to destroy safe spaces for women. Says men like me are why women need separate spaces. I decline most interview requests. Don't want to make this about me personally. Just want the legal question answered. Comments online are split. Some people support me, say discrimination is discrimination. Others call me a men's rights extremist. Say I should just go to another gym. I try to ignore the noise. Focus on the legal process. 3 months later, the Civil Rights Commission rules. EmpowerFit violated state anti-discrimination law. As a public accommodation, they cannot exclude based on gender. They're ordered to either change their policy or reclassify as a private club. Reclassifying as a private club has major implications. Lose certain tax benefits. Can't advertise publicly. Membership becomes invitation only. Sandra is furious. Gives more interviews about how the patriarchy won. How men couldn't stand women having one space. How this proves we live in a sexist society. I still stay quiet. The legal ruling speaks for itself. EmpowerFit has 60 days to comply. Sandra announces they'll remain a public gym, but will accept male members under protest. She makes a big show of it. Posts online about how men force their way in. How women's safety is now compromised. Her followers are outraged. Call for boycotts of businesses that supported me, even though no businesses were involved. Just me and a lawyer. Day 1 of the new policy. I walk into EmpowerFit as a paying member. Melissa at the front desk looks miserable. Processes my membership without making eye contact. I say thank you and head to the weight room. The looks I get could kill. Women staring, whispering to each other. Some deliberately move away when I approach equipment. Others take photos of me, probably for social media. I ignore all of it. Just put in my earbuds and do my workout. I'm not here to make a statement. I'm here to exercise. First week is rough. Constant hostile glares. Women complaining loudly about feeling unsafe. Even though I'm just doing bench press in the corner. Someone files a complaint saying I was staring. I wasn't, I was watching the TV above the mirrors. Sandra calls me in to discuss the complaint. I ask what specifically I did wrong. She can't say, just that women felt uncomfortable. I say feeling uncomfortable isn't a rule violation. She says it is in her gym. I say your gym is now legally required to treat members equally. You can't discipline me for existing while male. She's frustrated but knows I'm right. Complaint gets dropped. Week 2, other men start joining. Travis signs up, so does his friend Marcus. A few guys from the neighborhood who also wanted a closer gym. Within a month there are about 15 male members. Out of maybe 200 total. Small percentage, but visible presence. We all follow the rules perfectly. No talking to women who don't want to talk. No staring, no hogging equipment, no loud grunting. Model gym citizens. But our existence alone is treated as aggression. Sandra implements new rules clearly targeting us. No tank tops, even though women wear sports bras. No chalk, even though the chalk bin is still there. Must wipe equipment before and after, twice the requirement for others. We comply with everything perfectly. Malicious compliance is the strategy. Follow every rule to the letter. Can't punish us if we're not breaking rules. Month 3 and Sandra is losing control. Longtime female members are leaving. Not because of the men. Because of the constant negativity. Every visit is about the male members. Signs everywhere about the policy change. Staff making announcements about safe space protocols. It's exhausting. Women came here to work out. Not to be soldiers in Sandra's gender war. Maria, been a member for 4 years, cancels her membership. Tell Sandra the gym isn't about fitness anymore. It's about ideology. She just wants to exercise without all the drama. Other women follow. Month 4 and EmpowerFit is struggling financially. Lost about 40% of female members. Only gained maybe 20 male members. Net loss of over 60 paying customers. Revenue down significantly. Sandra blames the men, of course. Says we drove away her community. But we didn't do anything except show up and exercise. She created the hostile environment. Made every workout a political statement. Women got tired of it. Month 5, Sandra announces emergency measures. Increasing membership fees to compensate for losses. Adding mandatory women's empowerment sessions that all members must attend, including men. She frames it as education about creating safe spaces. I attend the first one out of curiosity. It's basically a lecture about how men make women uncomfortable. How we need to be extra careful about our presence. How we should consider whether we really need to be here. I raise my hand and ask a question. If we're paying members following all rules, why should we consider whether we need to be here? Sandra says because this space wasn't designed for you. I say it's legally required to be for everyone now. She says legal and moral aren't the same thing. I say I agree, which is why discrimination is both illegal and immoral, even when it's against men. She ends the session early. Month 6, EmpowerFit closes permanently. Sandra posts a long statement online. Blames men, the legal system, the patriarchy. Says women lost a sacred space because of male entitlement. Gets thousands of sympathetic comments. Poor Sandra. Evil men ruined everything. But the reality is different. The gym failed because Sandra made it about ideology, not fitness. When forced to accept everyone, she couldn't adapt. Made the environment hostile for everyone. Drove away her own customer base. The men didn't destroy the gym. Her reaction to the men destroyed the gym. Week after closing, I run into Maria at the coffee shop. The longtime member who quit. She recognizes me from the gym. I expect hostility, but she's actually friendly. Says she's glad the gym closed honestly. It used to be a good place to work out. Then Sandra turned it into a cult. Every conversation about men, patriarchy, safe spaces. She just wanted to lift weights and do cardio. Not be recruited into an ideology. I say I never intended for the gym to close. Just wanted equal access. She says she knows. Says Sandra was the problem, not me. If she'd just accepted male members normally, nobody would have cared. But she made it a war. And wars have casualties. Few months later, a new gym opens in the same location, called Fit Life, normal co-ed gym. Good equipment, reasonable prices, no ideology. I sign up immediately. Travis does too, so do a bunch of neighborhood people, including Maria and several other women from old EmpowerFit. We all work out together without incident. Men and women sharing equipment, spotting each other on heavy lifts. Nobody feeling unsafe or uncomfortable, because nobody's making it weird. Just people exercising. Owner is a guy named Paul. Former personal trainer, just wants to run a good gym. Doesn't care about gender politics. Cares about clean equipment and happy members. That's how it should be. Year later, Fit Life is thriving. Word of mouth spread about the chill atmosphere. Just fitness. I'm still a regular. Made actual friends there. Guys and women who share workout tips. Spot each other, encourage each other. Community built on shared interest, not shared grievance. Maria became a personal trainer, works at Fit Life now. She's great at it, really motivates people. Never mentions the EmpowerFit days. Except once she thanked me. Said the whole situation made her realize she'd been part of something toxic without seeing it. The constant focus on men as the enemy made her suspicious of every guy she met. Now she works with male and female clients equally. Sees people as individuals, not categories. That's growth. I saw a news article about Sandra recently. She's trying to open a new women's only gym in another state. Different legal environment might be allowed there. Comments are full of supporters cheering her on. Women deserve safe spaces, men ruin everything. I just shook my head and moved on. She didn't learn anything. Still blaming men instead of examining her own choices. Still seeing discrimination as empowerment. Some people never change. They just find new places to repeat old mistakes. I've got a daughter on the way. Wife is due in 4 months. I think about what kind of world she'll grow up in. I want her to be strong, confident, capable. To walk into any room knowing she belongs. Not because policies force them to accept her, but because she earned her place through effort. I want her to see men as potential allies, not enemies. To judge people by their character, not their gender. To compete openly and win fairly, without needing special protections or separate spaces. That's real empowerment. Not hiding from half the population, but thriving alongside them. Anyway, that's the story of how a feminist women's only gym tried to ban men from a public accommodation, got challenged legally and lost, was forced to accept male members, made the environment so hostile that everyone left, blamed men for destroying what they built, when really they destroyed it themselves, by treating inclusion as invasion and equality as oppression. The gym didn't fail because men joined. It failed because one woman couldn't accept. That discrimination is wrong even when you agree with it. That safe spaces aren't safe when they exclude half of humanity. That empowerment built on exclusion isn't empowerment. It's just segregation with better marketing. True strength doesn't need protection from the presence of others. It thrives in open competition, in shared spaces where everyone has equal access. That's not patriarchy. That's just fairness.